At first, it was just a cough, just a small tickle in the throat, a slight irritation. Nothing major, no cause for alarm. You see, our protagonist is a picture of health, a 40-year-old mom who had never smoked a day in her life. The idea that she had something serious like cancer was unthinkable. She laughed it off as allergies, maybe a seasonal cold, something she could easily shake off. A little rest, a bit of vitamin C, and everything would be back to normal. That's what she thought. But the cough didn't leave. It lingered, some days quiet, then persistent, stubborn, and close to constant. Friends said it was nothing to worry about. Family members reassured her that since she lived such a clean life, exercised regularly, ate well, and avoided bad habits, she couldn't possibly have anything to be worried about. Yes, she did have a slight cough, but those were just coincidences. It was bound to pass. But deep down, a small voice kept whispering, telling her she should go see a doctor. And as the weeks passed, that voice grew louder. As a parent, you always want your kids to be healthy, right? So the mom always makes sure that her child eats right, exercises, sleeps well, and stays away from things that are considered harmful. She wants her children to grow up knowing how to live a healthy life. However, sometimes, no matter how much care you put into living a healthy lifestyle, things don't always turn out the way you expect. This mom never thought her child would fall sick despite all her efforts. The cough became a daily companion. It was a nagging reminder that something wasn't right. Despite everyone else's reassurances, she knew that something was wrong. It was time to visit the doctor. She still hoped it was nothing serious, but a small part of her couldn't help but wonder if maybe, just maybe, it was something more. The doctor listened patiently, ran a few tests, and prescribed some medicine for allergies. Weeks passed and the cough persisted. So she made another appointment, this time with a specialist. They performed more tests, tried different medications, but nothing seemed to work. Each day brought new anxieties. Each night ended with unanswered questions. Fear started to creep in. What if it wasn't allergies? What if it was something more sinister lurking beneath the surface? As the search for answers continued, her health continued to deteriorate. The cough worsened, becoming a constant, heavy presence. She missed her children's soccer games, her husband's movie nights because sitting still long enough to watch a movie was nearly impossible with her cough. Simple tasks like climbing the stairs left her winded, gasping for breath. Her once active life became confined to 4 walls and a couch. All she could do was watch life go on while she was stuck, unable to participate. It was during one of these quiet moments, surrounded by the suffocating grip of her illness, that she decided she wouldn't wait any longer. Lung cancer was not in her vocabulary, not in her reality. How could it be? She'd never smoked, had never been exposed to secondhand smoke. She'd led a clean life. But then again, cancer doesn't care about clean or dirty, does it? It's a game of chance, a twist of fate. But still, the thought took root, grew stronger with each passing day. She convinced her husband to accompany her to the hospital. Together they sat across from the doctor, her holding his hand, seeking comfort in their bond. This time she asked, she demanded answers. She needed to know what was happening to her. The doctor was empathetic, understanding, yet cautious. He couldn't provide a definitive answer until he ran further tests. X-rays, scans, and countless blood tests were conducted. Each step brought new emotions, hope, anxiety, fear. The waiting was the hardest. The days stretched endlessly, ticking by agonizingly slow. Every cough, every wheeze, every moment without breath amplified her fear. It was as though her entire life was suspended, held hostage by the results of these tests. Finally, the dreaded call came. She was called into the doctor's office. The air was thick with unspoken tension. The doctor's face was grave. With trembling hands and a voice that shook slightly, he delivered the news. "I'm sorry, it's lung cancer." The bomb exploded. The room spun. Lung cancer. How could she have lung cancer? She hadn't smoked. She was only 40. Life as she knew it crumbled. Tears flowed freely, hot and heavy. She cried not just for herself, but for her children, for her husband, for her whole family. The life they'd planned, the dreams they'd shared, they were all threatened by this diagnosis. It was terrifying. As the initial shock wore off, a steely resolve took over. Fear was still present, but so was determination. She was a mother first and foremost, and she had a lot to live for. She would fight for her children, for her family, for herself. She had never been one to give up, and this wouldn't be the first nor last time she picked herself up and fought. Treatment was grueling. Chemotherapy, targeted therapy, side effects, pain, and isolation became part of her daily existence. Hospital stays turned into months. Her hair fell out, her skin grew pale, and her body grew weaker. But she endured. Through it all, she held on to hope for a cure, hope for a future, and hope for her children. She soon realized that she wasn't alone in this battle. There were others who had been diagnosed with lung cancer, many of whom were non-smokers. She learned that lung cancer doesn't discriminate. It can affect anyone. This realization fueled her determination to spread awareness, to tell her story, to encourage others to pay attention to their bodies, and seek help early, to educate people about the risks of radon exposure and secondhand smoke. But even in the darkest hours, amidst the pain and the struggle, she found solace. She reconnected with old friends, created new ones. Her family stood by her side, offering love, support, and strength. Her husband, her rock, her children, her sunshine, they gave her the will to keep going. It was a long and arduous journey, but she never faltered. With each new day, she confronted her fears, her pain, and her loneliness. She used her experience to connect with other patients, creating a support system. She participated in clinical trials, hoping to contribute to the advancement of research. She became an advocate for lung cancer awareness. Months turned into years, and the fog of illness started to lift. The treatments had been successful. She was in remission. It was a long road to recovery, but she was determined to make the most of her second chance at life. She continued to raise awareness about lung cancer, became an inspiration for others facing similar challenges. Her strength, her optimism, and her tenacity became her guiding light. But then unexpected hurdles arose. The cancer returned. Once again, facing the same diagnosis, undergoing the same treatments, she knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was ready. She had faced this before. She had survived then, and she would survive again. The second time around, the journey was tougher, the road bumpier, but her spirit remained unbroken. She was stronger now, wiser, more resilient. She continued to fight, to hope, to dream. She never lost sight of her purpose, to help others, to offer support, to stand as a beacon of hope in the darkness. Her story was one of survival, of hope and of courage. She was a testament to the strength of the human spirit, a beacon of hope for many. Through it all, she remained a dedicated mother, a loving wife, and a true inspiration to all who knew her. Her journey taught her the fragility of life, the importance of every moment, and the strength within her that she never knew existed. The cough that almost became her story instead became the chapter that defined her strength. In the end, her story was one of courage. She was a woman who had stared death in the face and refused to let it win. She was proof that hope and determination could light the path even in the darkest of times. Her story was a reminder that life could change in an instant and that we should cherish every moment, every breath, every smile. It was a testament to her indomitable spirit, her fierce love for her family, and her unwavering strength. It was the story of a warrior who fought not just for herself, but for everyone who ever faced the darkness of a difficult diagnosis and emerged stronger on the other side.